extermination, more. And it was just as brutal as Mariah describes. To grossly oversimplify the events here, dictator Joseph Stalin aggressively seized control of the farmland and personal property of peasants in order for it to be controlled by the communist Soviet government. This collectivization movement failed due to government disorganization, which destroyed rural economies and led to massive food shortages across the country. When peasants started to rebel against these policies in Ukraine, especially in provinces that had previously fought against the Red Army during the Russian Civil War, Stalin decided it was time to crack down and assert control by creating blacklists of towns that wouldn't receive the government-controlled food. Police were also sent to ransack homes and take anything that was edible: crops, personal food supplies, pets. In the end, at least 5 million people died of hunger resulting from the Great Famine, at least 3.9 million of which were Ukrainian. And much like our characters in Cooking Companions, the food situation got so bad that people had to resort to cannibalism in order to survive. A doctor wrote in 1933 that she had not yet become a cannibal, but was, quote, "not sure that I shall not be one by the time my letter reaches you. The good people died first. Those who refused to steal or to prostitute themselves died. Those who gave food to others died. Those who refused to eat corpses died. Those who refused to kill their fellow man died. Parents who resisted cannibalism died before their children did." End quote. So it seems like our 4 cabin friends are refugees running away from the Holodomor horrors that are happening over in the Soviet states. But that then leaves the question of, who are we? Well, let's just think about what we do know about our character. We're a cannibal that lives in some cabin in the forested mountains of Poland and Slovakia. We also know that we're hideous to look at, if our 4 companions' reaction to us when we first arrive is anything to go by during that twist ending. We also ask this really random, really specific question about free will versus being sent that apparently has itself a right and wrong answer. So I started there with that very specific question and immediately got back information on a supernatural being called the Baba Yaga. A character from Slavic folklore, so we're in the right part of the world, who lives in a remote cabin, check again, often described as an old hag with a deformed appearance. Again, just like our hideous appearance in the game. She's also known to cannibalize the visitors to her home. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a bingo. And here's the kicker. Baba Yaga is known for asking that specific free will versus scent question. Apparently the correct answer for that is, I am here 75% of my own free will, 65% by compulsion, which, if you do the math, totals up to 140%, so I don't know, maybe she needs some math classes in addition to the chompettes teaching her cooking classes. In fact, the more you look at the game, the more we find connecting us back to Baba Yaga. Sometimes her cabin stands on chicken legs, and would you know it, but we can find a chicken bone in the bedroom underneath the floorboards as a little Easter egg back to that original story. Not only that, but Karen is actually designed to look very similar to another character from Slavic folklore, Vasilisa the Beautiful, a girl that finds Baba Yaga in the woods during her own story. Even our nightmares between days of the game point to stories that involve the Baba Yaga. The second dream we get about being shoved into an oven closely follows the Russian folktale Ivanushka, where a boy refuses to be cooked in Baba Yaga's oven and instead tricks her into showing him how, trapping her in the oven and cooking her alive. So there you have it. We are the Baba Yaga, a cannibal that feasts on those that are lost in the woods. And our latest victims are an unlucky group of refugees running away from a famine in their home country. Except it's still not quite the whole story. In nightmare mode of Cooking Companions, we get this line: you lost more of your humanity. They actually use it multiple times, but if we just lost some of our humanity, that then implies that we had humanity to start off with, right? We're not just some evil supernatural force, we're a human possessed by a supernatural force. And the game seems to back this up. After Mariah leaves the cabin, we have a dream about desecrating a corpse. Then we wake up in a different room than when we fell asleep, having some sort of mystery meat. This happens again when Anatoly leaves the cabin. We dream about putting his glasses aside and cutting him up. Suddenly, we wake up with more meat. The game tells you explicitly on a few occasions that you've been sleepwalking, which the Chompette Potato confirms in more detail. Quote,
"In the first week with the red-haired woman and the others, where did you sleep? If I can be honest, it was truly horrific to witness. You would routinely collapse in the middle of the hallway, sleepwalking into walls, or worse, going down into the basement."
This proves that our non-folklore dreams, the ones ones where we chop people up were not only real, but happening while we were asleep. We weren't fully in control of our actions, and something is keeping us alive beyond what's normal. The Chompettes do seem to believe that if you're killed, Karen will take over the cabin, implying that the spirit of Baba Yaga can be passed from person to person in order to protect the cabin and the spirits that reside in it. So that just leaves us with one final question. How did we end up with the power of Baba Yaga? If we were potentially going to pass it on to Karen if we lost the final battle, then wouldn't it make sense for us to have gained it from someone before us? Well, fear not, dear theorists, because I'm pretty confident that I know how we got here, and it has everything to do with the most iconic characters from the franchise. Characters that you'll notice I still really haven't mentioned all that much today. I'm talking, of course, about the Chompettes. More specifically, I think Potato is the key putting this whole thing together. He feels like the odd one of the group, not wanting to participate in the other Chompettes games. He knows a lot about the caloric needs of the human body, and he gives off some strong murder vibes. Let's just call it a hunch, or maybe the fact that he gives us a secret recipe explicitly called slaughter stew. Could he have been the previous Baba Yaga? The answer to that question is gonna have to wait until part 2. I know, it's